Welcome to my channel. Hey, this is my mid-60s, somewhere in there, Ludwig kit. I'm going through a little modification. I'm just going to change this mounting system out on it to make it adaptable with all the hardware that I have. So I like to have everything that I play on the same mounting system. So when I'm here in my studio, I can, if I want to go for a different vibe, I can just change the drums out and not have to change all my stands and hardware out. So I put everything on this this new system. I've been a real fan of the new Pearl R2 Air stuff. So I'm a Pearl artist, happily. They're making amazing stuff. Sometimes in the studio, we get called on to use things that are, you know, specific instruments to a certain genre or style. So I had these drums. I actually bought these drums about 20 years ago, 15, something like that. And they're a fantastic representation of drums from this era. Sam Bacco, a great percussionist and drum builder friend of mine, went through and rewrapped everything, you know, looked at the edges. And so they're really a pristine version, player's version of these drums. So if you want to use them in the studio, there's little things about the old stuff that you have to work out. Sometimes you have to go in and put felt inside the lug casings because they're going to resonate and make noise. So this kit has been completely gone through by Sam Bacco. I only used them about once in 10 years of the time that I had them, so I sent them along their way to a friend of mine, a bassist, who wanted a set of drums for his studio, and you know, I basically gave him a sweet deal and said, hey, look, the only conditions are you got to sell these things back to me if you ever decide to get rid of them. So they have come home, and now I'm going to do a little demonstration today. After I go through this process, I do a little playing on this video in my normal setup. So what I tell people about sounds and recording drums, and I've been doing this, you know, I've been engineering alongside playing drums since I was a kid because my father had a studio and I had access to that. So when I'm going after different sounds, I mean, you can do different things with the mics and whatever, but you know, realistically, if you want a significant difference in tone and what you're going after, it starts at the drum. And then you can simplify the miking techniques, or you can, you know, whatever. If you're really wanting to go like Beatles style, then you can emulate the way they mic'd and recorded the drums and try your best to get into that world. I don't go that far, because I think it's a bit funny to do that, to get so caught up on trying to recreate something. In those moments, what they were doing were dealing with the limitations. If they hadn't had those limitations forced, they would have done something different. So for me, if I'm going to use a set of drums like this, then I'm going to record them in a modern way. I'm going to treat them in a modern way. And not try to go like 100% back to the source, because it's ridiculous to me to do that. You got to move forward somehow. So I'm going to time-lapse this stuff while I go through the changes. Thought it might be cool for you guys to see that. I'm going to swap this out over to my main setup position here in the studio, and then do a little playing and make a little video to demonstrate sort of my take on what these drums can do. So thanks for checking it out. You know, there's going to be more videos where I go into much more detail on how I tune and approach these sounds, but I thought this would be fun. Have a look at this kit that's come home to me after many years, and let's put them to use, all right? And so check it out. We're going to time-lapse a little bit of the setup. All right, so a quick note about the R2 Air. They have two little Allen screws in these positions here, and this telescopes. And depending on the drum and depending on the angle that you're hanging them on your stands or your mounts, sometimes I have to come in here and squeeze them all the way to the lug and hold them tight and tighten them down so that they're holding the drum that way. And then sometimes I loosen them all the way up so they almost float against the top hoop. So so far with these, just kind of, quickly by hand. They want to be pulled apart toward the hoops. So I love this mounting system. Compared to rims mounts, everybody's making variations on all these suspension systems at this point. But this one for me is the most effective for resonance for sure. And then it has a lot of, it comes with a lot of little spacers and things that you can put in that you can control the amount of sustain the drum gives you. It's just requires a little bit of nuance and adjustment, but you can find it, and then you can get a drum in any position and any size to give its full vibration to you, and then work backwards from there. A lot of times you're fighting a suspension system where you kind of have to make a choice about the mounting position, and sort of give and take with the tone of the drum. These take that out of the equation. You can get a wide open resonance from the drum in any position, in any size I've found so far. Even I use a 10 by 14 mounted tom on the right side of my bass drum. And that's a lot of mass, and I hang them sort of on a steeper angle than some people, And so that's a lot of opportunity for the drum to choke against the tension rods and different things. So this system is fantastic. They make it for their new L arms, and they make it for the old style, which I used forever. So just a side note, I switched over to these L arms because when we're out playing live, it's just a little more convenient to pull the drum straight off the stand, up, and then you can work on it from there. Never run into that problem, but sometimes with the way I would set up with the older style, which my Gretsch drums are still set up on that right now. You have to take one drum out in sequence because the way they're coming in on those, telescoping in on those pipes. So anyway, quick note about the R2 Air. And then I'm going to start swapping these drums out to the other side of the room. Okay, so here we are. Everything's switched out. We've got the Air 2 suspension system on the rack toms. So basically, this is a mid-60s Ludwig kit, and instead of trying to time capsule it and do something that was based on the methods of the era, this is what these drums can do in a modern context. It's the way I just typically capture my drums. It's a little bit of processing, but not much from like a mixed perspective of something I just finished. So here you go. Check out the resonance and sustain of these drums. And I think I beat that one into submission against a second ago. So that's with Pearl's sort of modern suspension stuff. It's the mounting system for the rack toms. I've got got their feet on the floor tom legs, And then I've thrown in a era correct Ludwig 5x14. So I'll just play a little bit. You can hear the kit in this context of just sort of a modern use of the drums and through a kind of a modern presentation through the console. And then later on we'll get into something a little more retro and fun. So there's a little piece of, really blowing these drums up, digging into them, wide open, and then we'll get into something totally different. So this looks a bit different. I've got towels in a certain way that I use them that I will get into in another video. But this is an approximation of something more from the era that we experienced these drums from. And there you have it. I'm gonna make a little bit of a video you can check out. Go look for it on my Instagram page. Because some things we want to use here on YouTube will get a copyright strike on them. So I got something cool. Go over there and check that out. It's the Shannon Forrest on Instagram, and you'll see the final little piece of this puzzle over there.